Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Brian Kelly Show. Now, Coach, due to your earlier break from action, you said the Louisville game felt more like week 2 than week 4 of the season. How did it feel this week as you were able to have a second straight, relatively normal week of practice?
Well, we're starting to get into a routine, which is nice. You know, you're expecting now to see a football team that is settling into who they are. You know, I think we've established the fact that we're going to be a team that runs the football. I think we've got to be more efficient, certainly in the red zone and scoring points, and defensively very stingy in giving up points and letting teams run the football. So I think this week in our preparation, it started to feel like finally we've reached week 5, and that's a nice feeling for everybody.
Really, you can go all the way back to the start of fall camp, and your defense has looked really good. They've been getting better each week. They were a huge reason why you won last week. What steps did that defense take this week?
Well, I think more than anything else, getting the guys much more comfortable positionally where the rotations, those guys that are going to be playing have now practiced together. You know, it was a bit of a in and out of the lineup for the last couple of weeks. Now that we've got a settled lineup where we have nobody in quarantine or isolation, everybody kind of knows their role and what to expect. And that's made for a really smooth transition on the practice field.
Now, even though you only scored 12 points last week, you controlled the line of scrimmage, you ran the ball very well. So what was your focus on offense this week?
You know, making some of the simple plays. You know, there were a lot of plays out there that we just didn't execute at the level necessary. So, you know, spending some time on just basic fundamentals of, our offensive structure. And we didn't add a whole lot, just a lot of plays that were left out there that we felt like, needed to be executed at a higher level, and then spend a little bit more time in the red zone. And those two things in particular will make this a better offense.
Folks, we'll break down Notre Dame's gritty 12-7 win over Louisville right after this timeout on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for our game breakdown, brought to you by Canon. Coach, on your first possession, 2 receivers who have been banged up were able to catch their first passes of the year. Kevin Austin and Ben Skowronek, guys who you need to play big roles for you the rest of this season.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Jack. And it was good to see Kevin Austin back after, breaking his foot in preseason camp. And you could see what kind of receiver he's going to be. That was just a little 5-yard route, and he turned it into, I think it was the longest reception of the day, where he made somebody miss and ran up the sideline. And Ben had some big plays for us. So it was nice to get Ben, in the offense. And as I said, some key conversions for us in the fourth quarter.
Those 2 catches helped set up Jonathan Doerr's first of 2 first-half field goals in swirling winds.
Certainly matured, and I love the fact that he plays now this game with a different level of confidence, and that he is built on being successful. He's made a lot of big kicks for us, and we had some difficult conditions on Saturday. The winds were swirling, sometimes gusting up to over 35 miles an hour, and he went out there and he did his job. And so really hats off to him and the way he's handled himself over the last few years.
Now, your defense was ready to go right from the beginning of the game. And on Louisville's second and third possessions, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah came up with a total of 3 tackles for loss to help force a couple of Louisville punts.
Well, he's an explosive player, and he continues to show himself as being one of the top players in the country. You know, his ability to defeat blocks, tackle in the open field, makes it very difficult to run his way. Somebody that you have to play or be accounted for on every play, because he can obviously make plays in the backfield. I think we had 7 or 8 tackles for a loss again, and that's a disruptive defense.
Now, you took the lead for good on a terrific scramble and 13-yard touchdown run by Ian Book on 3rd and 8 from the Louisville 13.
Yeah. Again, Ian made a big play on that. He probably could have made it a little easier on himself, but again, his athletic ability showed itself on that play and was able to get in for, which was obviously a very big score for us in the third quarter.
It would be great if you could give guys experience pills, but you can't. Sean Crawford has 6 seasons now. He's in his 6th season, and he had a heck of a game. You gave him the game ball. He tied for the team lead in tackles with 6, including a tackle for loss, and he made a terrific play to break up what would have been a big game for the Cardinals on the last play of the third quarter.
Yeah, it was a great play coming off the hash. Tariq Bracy was sinking under a corner route, and Tariq had a deflection on it, but the receiver went up, was going to make a really good catch, and Crawford stayed with it, finished the play off, got the ball out, and that's the kind of player he is. Wherever you ask him to play, corner, safety, whether you're blitzing him, putting him in the middle of the field at the nickel position, he does a little bit of everything for us, and that's why he's so valuable to us.
Fair to say that the defense for you was dominant in this game, but you can make a case that from a physicality standpoint, so is your offense. You talked about it in the first segment of the show. You led 12-7 with 7 minutes and 55 seconds left in the game when you got the ball back, and you ran 14 plays and never gave it back. And you have to be physical to do that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they knew it was coming, and they had to defend us. And I love the resolve and the mental toughness of a group that says we're going to end this football game. And they had 3 timeouts. So, the ability to make them burn their 3 timeouts while you're running the football, pretty extraordinary group of guys that say we're going to end the game here on offense, and they certainly did that.
So the Irish move to 4-0 with a gritty 12-7 win over Louisville. It's Notre Dame's 10th straight win. No one in the Power 5 has a longer active winning streak. Coach Kelly will break down a number of the biggest plays from the win over Louisville. We return on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. Tonight's Brian Kelly Show is brought to you by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979, so they've got their game plan down. Their team of experts can help you help yourself using a playbook full of their very own test results and consumer ratings, plus reviews that make buying a new set of tires as easy as a clean quarterback sneak, contact-free. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. And it's time now for Irish Intel, sponsored by the experts at TireRack.com. This is where we let Coach control the video and get into the X's and O's of why a play worked. And our first play is on the first drive of the game in the first quarter, a 16-yard Ian Book completion to Bed Skowronek on 3rd and 10 to keep the first scoring drive alive.
Yeah, 3rd and long, they're much more of a quarters team. We're looking to clear out the middle, and you can see Ben's breaks it back into the middle of the field here, and Ian steps up in the pocket, delivers a nice ball, and we thought this was Ben's first catch, and it looked like he was going to go the other way, but picks up a big first down for us and keeps the drive alive.
Coach, our second play this week is in the third quarter. Ian Book's scramble and 13-yard touchdown that gave you a 12-7 lead.
Yeah, this is a short field boundary flood where we're trying to get 3 receivers into the short field. Ian looks to the boundary, doesn't see it, and then there's so much field that's not defended. He decides to take off and does a little tightrope down the sideline and gets us our touchdown that obviously puts us in a good position and responding from the third quarter touchdown that Louisville had just scored.
The last play of the third quarter, Sean Crawford breaks up a pass to Des Fitzpatrick that prevents a 30-yard gain for Louisville on 2nd and 16 from the Cardinals' 38-yard line.
Yeah, you can see that they're in a tight set here. They're running a smash concept where they're trying to keep the corner, Tariq Bracy, from sinking underneath this corner out. But Sean Crawford is the deep safety. He comes off the hash, and he finishes the play by pulling the ball out from Des Fitzpatrick here. You can see at the top of the screen right here, he goes up and really strips the football right here from Fitzpatrick. Just a great play by Sean Crawford.
Let's move on to the fourth quarter now. 1st and 20 for Louisville on their final possession of the game with 10:05 on the game clock. And Dalen Hayes makes a great read, throwing Louisville's leading rusher, Javian Hawkins, for a 6-yard loss.
Yeah, Louisville's trying to run a what we call a T-hot screen here to the tailback. The right guard's supposed to get out, but Dalen reads it right away and gets there before the guard can get out. You can see the guard right here. He is trying to get this kick out block, but Dalen sees it quickly and is able to respond before the guard gets there. Makes a huge play. They're looking to get probably 10 yards back here on a quick screen just to make it manageable, but obviously a big play here that puts them way behind the chains.
And Coach, for our final play this week, we pick up the action with just over 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and your team facing a 3rd and 5 situation, and you decide to give it to Kyron Williams, and he makes a huge play for a 24-yard gain to seal the victory.
Yeah, this was a good call here. 3rd and 5. I think Louisville's thinking maybe we're going to throw the football here. We get into a spread set. We run the inside zone play. And a great cutback by Kyron Williams and gets us the big first down, which effectively ends the game. You can see we got 3 receivers to the right. That forces them to move 4 defenders out there to cover the pass and thins the box out. The numbers are fair for us. And great run by Kyron Williams and picks up a big first down, which, as I said earlier, effectively ends the game.
Coach, thank you. It is always entertaining and informative to go into the film room with you.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
That wraps up this week's Irish Intel segment brought to you by TireRack.com. Coach and I will return right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for our weekly segment with Notre Dame Director of Scouting, Bill Reese. And Bill, your young running backs have been outstanding this season. Sophomore Kyron Williams was named the ACC Rookie of the Week this week after he ran for 127 yards on 25 carries, averaging 5.1 yards per rush. He is 2nd in the ACC and 6th in the FBS in rushing yards per game at 121.5 yards per carry. And he's getting better every week as a blocker, especially picking up blitzers. Why has he been able to step up and be such a dominant back this season?
Well, Kyron has done a lot of things in the offseason. First of all, physically, he got stronger, he got faster. He really reshaped his body in the offseason. And he is a very natural runner. He has outstanding vision, balance. He is an extremely tough minded person. He's a guy that just loves football. He takes it very seriously. And like you said, he gets better and better as time goes on, and he gets stronger as the game goes on as well.
Now, Williams is not the only young back to step up for the Irish this year. Saturday, freshman Chris Tyree picked up 32 more yards and 7 carries. He's averaging 6.9 yards per carry this year. It is not as easy as people think it is for a great high school player to immediately have impact at the collegiate level. Did you see this kind of immediate impact from Tyree when you scouted him in high school?
Well, you know, Tyree has great speed, and he is a very smooth, very deceptive guy, can really get in and out of the hole very quickly. And some of the things he could do in high school, you know, you just can't teach. When he got here, we immediately saw the run skills. What has been impressive is he's learned to block. He's done a really nice job running inside the tackles. And interestingly enough, that during, you know, the preparation for the season, when the quarterbacks worked with Chris, they came back and said, this guy has as good a hands as anybody on the team. So he really is a complete back, and as a young player, very smart, very competitive, and has picked things up really quickly.
Now, speaking of immediate impact, freshman tight end Michael Mayer was this week named to the Football Writers Association Freshman All-American Watch List. Mayer's already caught 7 passes for 80 yards this season and a touchdown, becoming the first freshman to score a touchdown for Notre Dame, freshman tight end, since Kyle Rudolph in 2008. But I think the best way to describe Mayer's impact this year is he is a wow guy, meaning he does stuff on the field that makes you say, wow. Bill, was he a wow guy in high school too?
Well, I don't know if we use the word wow, but dominant was certainly a word that you would associate with Michael Mayer. Dominant on both sides of the football, an outstanding basketball player. The thing about Michael that's a little bit unusual, he is very mature for a freshman. He's an unspoiled guy, comes in, he works. Nothing is left to chance with him. He's been really impressive in terms of his maturity to go along with just outstanding skill set. Can run, can catch, and block. You don't see that very often from tight ends.
Now on defense, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has become one of the most dynamic and impactful players in college football this season. He leads the team in tackles for loss right now with 6 in 4 games. What makes Jeremiah so special?
Well, he's an extremely explosive player, and he can get from point A to point B so quickly, so explosive on contact. And the biggest thing, I think, with him is he has just become more and more comfortable within the system, where he is now playing all over the field, very instinctive on what to do, rushing the passer, dropping in coverage, blitzing. He is an extremely versatile, talented, explosive player.
Now, for folks who are listening or watching and don't know, part of your job as Notre Dame's director of scouting is to also scout the recruits. So that's why I always follow up with this question. Did you see Owusu-Koramoah having this kind of an impact when you scouted him during his high school days back in Virginia?
Well, he was a free safety and a wide receiver, and, they moved him around, did a lot of different things. And so there was some projecting involved. But when you saw him move around in person, you could see the explosiveness, and you knew he was going to gain some weight, and he was a perfect fit to play rover in Clark Lee's system.
Now the Irish hit the road this weekend after 4 straight home games. It's the first time since 1934 that Notre Dame has not hit the road until game number 5. Bill, you've spent your entire life in football, so based on that experience, what challenges can the first road trip of the year pose for this year's Irish team, especially when you add all the changes in the travel process in an effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19? Even the veteran players will sense that it's different this weekend.
Well, we're lucky. We have a tremendous director of football operations in Olivia Mitchell, and she does a great job. And she's been working with all of the, with our training staff, medical staff, all these protocols, all the, checking all the boxes. The thing that we're going to do on Friday is we're going to keep our schedule the same as if we were at home, the same exact time of our walkthrough, our meetings. We're going to have dinner here. They're going to go, bus over to the airport, get on a plane, fly to Pittsburgh. Probably don't get there till, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Check into the hotel, go up to our rooms, get a good night's sleep, get up the next morning, and basically have the same meal procedures that we would have at home. Get on the bus and then, get over and play the game. But it's a very, I think, smart move. It was Coach Kelly's idea to keep our Fridays basically the same as they've been for the first month of the season.
Now, this is the renewal of yet another one of Notre Dame's many storied rivalries, Notre Dame in Pittsburgh. This year, Pitt is 3-3 on the season. They've already beaten Syracuse and Louisville at home. I've got all these stats in front of me, but I want to start just with a blank canvas for you as you prepared the scouting report on Pittsburgh. What jumped out at you?
Well, the fingerprints of the head coach, Coach Narduzzi, is all over this football team, and it starts with defense. They're going to be a tough, aggressive football team, but defensively, they're 7th in the country in total defense. They really run to the football. We played them when Narduzzi was the defensive coordinator at Michigan State, so you can expect a lot of pressure, but they have, 2 outstanding defensive ends. Jones and Weaver are big, long NFL type players. Jones is leading the country in sacks. So immediately you see edge pressure that they can generate. And then in the back end, they have two very experienced safeties in Hamlin and Ford. And when you have experience at safety along with athletic ability, you can cover up a lot of things. You can be a force in the run game. You can double receivers. They really are able to have a lot of plays funneled to the safeties. So they really have a nice core right away on defense.
Now, Notre Dame, of course, is one of the best running teams in the nation. Pitt leads the nation in run defense. They're giving up just 61.5 yards per game. Why have they been so good against the run, and what does Notre Dame need to do to establish its dominance?
Well, they're very aggressive, and they're going to load the box up some. And like I said, they have two safeties that they can drop down into the front and give them an extra man in there to help with the run game. The other thing, too, is they've had such success sacking the quarterback that statistically those numbers come off the rushing total. So it's going to be really low because they've been very productive in terms of sacks this year.
Now, offense, I was going to say they've been average, really. They've churned out 390 yards per game in total offense, scoring just under 30 points per game. So that's decent, but they've lost a couple of games by just 1 point. And I guess they have a big question mark. They have two talented quarterbacks, but as we speak, you're not all that sure who's going to be starting for them this week.
Well, last week, Pickett, their starting quarterback, didn't go with the team down to Miami, and I think he'll probably be a game time decision for them. Yellen, who came in for him last week, he's a transfer from Arizona State, really did a very credible job. He threw the ball well down the field. He showed poise. So if Pickett isn't able to go, my guess is that they'll go with Yellen. But Pickett gives them an experienced guy, 32 career starts. He has great size. He's a good overall athlete, strong arm. My guess is if there's any chance that he is close, he's going to play. He's that kind of competitor.
Now, Yellen is a redshirt freshman transfer. Started last week at Miami, put up some pretty good numbers, 22 of 46 for 277 yards and a TD, didn't throw any picks. What did you see on him on film?
Well, he was able to show a good deal of poise. And as you know, Miami's going to have good pass rushers. They're going to be fast. And he stayed in the pocket, did a nice job, got the ball down the field to his receivers, gave them a chance to, make some plays. I think they had 5 plays of 19 yards or more in the passing game. So he was able to get the ball down the field. And, he was a good player at Arizona State. It just didn't work out for him. I think he started 1 game there as a freshman. So, he gives them a good guy coming off the bench if they need him this week.
Now, 10 of the past 12 games between Notre Dame and Pittsburgh have been decided by single digits. This is the 72nd meeting. You've been doing this a long time. Media loves to talk about the rivalry and the history. When you get on the field, have you ever noticed that has any impact on the game at all beyond everybody seems to play one of their best games against Notre Dame?
Well, I think Pittsburgh, there is a great rivalry there. And I think a lot of people at that school, point to Notre Dame and say, hey, this is a big game for us. And there have been some great contests in the past. There's been a lot of great players on both sides of the line of scrimmage that have gone up against one another. And so I think it's a game that's talked about not only leading up to the game, but, in the spring and in the summer, hey, Notre Dame's coming to town. So it'll be important for them. They're coming off some tough games, and they're going to want to, get a win at home and play their best game of the season.
You're up to number 3 in the country, and fans, even media. We even had a staff meeting today where some of the people were talking about the Clemson game. How do you make sure that nobody on your team is looking ahead to the Clemson game?
Well, it hasn't been talked about at all, and everybody is focused in on Pittsburgh this week, and everyone's just trying to get better each week, and you can only play the team that is on your schedule this coming week. It's the most important game of the year for us, and that's how we approach every game.
Okay, so Bill, what are your keys to the game?
This is going to be a very physical game. I think we're going to have to match their aggressiveness, their physicality. They're going to play with great energy. We need to match that as well. And, we're just going to have to, take advantage of some opportunities to make some big plays and defensively limit their, long runs or big plays. And I think we'll be in good shape if we're able to do that.
Coach Reese, thank you as always. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Jack.
Coming up, Coach Kelly will take over the microphone to chat with Chicago Bears rookie tight end Cole Kmet. This is the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for Coach Kelly's weekly chat with one of his former players. This week he dials up former Irish standout and Bears rookie tight end Cole Kmet, who caught the first touchdown pass of his NFL career Sunday against the Carolina Panthers.
It is Kmet in his end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Deep down the middle of the field to Cole Kmet. Got it.
There's Cole Kmet making the grab.
It's complete to Kmet to the 5. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Cole Kmet.
Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Not as good as you.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Good.
Congratulations, man. I guess it's clear now that all the success that we've had here was Cole Kmet, because wherever you go, people win.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. We got to winners. Winners win.
Yeah, no doubt. Winners win.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That game ball is coming your way with that first touchdown, right?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool thing to have happen. So it was pretty sweet.
What was the call? Give me the call.
Yeah. So first of all, we had that call at the 4-yard line, and we had to delay a game. So.
Oh yeah, because they got to back you up so you could get the ball, right?
Yeah. So they backed me up, and we had a play call, and then Foles just killed it. So he's just like, he killed whatever play we had on. And then he gave me the post route. And I was like, all right. And the ball really wasn't supposed to go to me. So it was supposed to go to the running back.
Right.
But they were playing so far wide, even on this quarters look, I was like, shoot, I'm going to get the ball here. So I ran at the safety, came
Just
inside
a little
of him.
nod.
Yeah, came inside of him, and the ball was up in the air and, came down with it. So it was pretty sweet.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
So Monday night, you got Monday Night Football coming up. You must be excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Monday night in LA, so it'll be a good time. So I'm excited for that. Should be pretty sweet.
With no fans.
Yeah, no fans in the new stadium. So
I know. I heard it's supposed to be beautiful. The stadium.
I can't wait to check it out. It should be pretty sweet. So I'm excited for that. That'll be cool.
Now, what's the travel procedures? How has that changed?
We don't do any meetings at the hotel, so we do all the meetings before, all spaced out or either on Zoom, and then we get on our bus. They have I think we have 13 buses, and then we spread out the guys. Yeah. And then you get on the plane, and it's all spaced out. We've been taking 2 planes, so then we get to the hotel. And it's really, you get your food, you go right to your room. You can't do anything because they just wanted it spaced out.
So I heard you've already made the call to sign up for classes. I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm excited to get going on that. That's important to me. So I need to make sure I get that done. And plus I promised mom, that was a big deal for mom. So.
Listen, Frankie can, that's not an issue. You start messing with mom. That's where you get into some trouble. That's
for sure. No doubt.
The football adjustment for you, is it just the day itself because it's such a long day? Is that been the biggest adjustment?
Yeah, I think for me, that's been a big adjustment. Obviously viewing it as a work day. Yeah. It's kind of similar to how when we had a fall break and we were playing on the fall break, it's just basically that every day, which is nice too, because football day ain't that bad. So it's a good life. Definitely adjusting the speed and knowing you got to know what coverage it is every single play, how they're playing it. These guys are really good at disguising stuff. So you got to be able to find tendencies in terms of how they're playing it. So that's the adjustments I've been learning. So yeah, between just like different days and learning defenses, that's kind of been the adjustment period.
What about the team itself? What has been, from your perspective? You're 4-0. You've won some games. Foles comes in. It just seems like guys are pretty confident in his ability that he's going to make the plays, and you guys are going to win some football games.
Yeah, I think he's just got a winning attitude, which is pretty cool. And like, he's been a great leader in the locker room. And hey, it may not be the prettiest thing every week, but like you get it done, and that's what he's about, just winning games. So it's been pretty fun.
So we go on the road for the first time. We go to Pittsburgh. So we're going to the house that Chase Claypool built.
Yeah, Chase is lighting it up right now, huh?
Yeah, he's doing well, and he's really humble. He's doing a great job. We're really proud of him, and we're really proud of you, Cole, and what you're doing and how you're representing Notre Dame in the manner that we knew you would. So we really appreciate you taking the time, and go get a win on Monday night. Catch a couple more touchdown passes.
Hey, we'll do, Coach. We'll do. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Cole, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, I'll talk to you.
Thanks, Coach. I know we are all so happy for the success that Cole is already having in the NFL. This week's Irishography, presented by Gatorade, is coming up next. This is the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for this week's edition of Irishography, presented by Gatorade and hosted by Fighting Irish Media's Sydney Sims. This week, Sydney sits down to talk with Irish wide receiver Javon McKinley.
Going to take another shot downfield. McKinley holds on to the 35-yard line. Big gain for Javon McKinley to end a very entertaining opening quarter.
You're from California. What made you choose Notre Dame?
Honestly, looking back, just a few minor things is the culture that they have here at Notre Dame, the family setting, the community, the way people interact, the friends I've made here, especially just from visiting for a week, and a little something my personal receiver coach back home told me, just knowing the football world, college world, and my personality. He thought Notre Dame would be a good fit for me, and I think he made the right choice.
Javon, you are a business major here at Notre Dame, and you minor in Mandarin. What made you to decide to minor in Mandarin?
I like challenging myself. I like being able to complete hard tasks, and learning a level 5 language I thought was a good way to do that. So I decided to pick up Mandarin and start learning it.
I heard you picked it up quite quickly. Can you say a little phrase for me?
我叫jiu hu, 我学了中文2年。谢谢胡老师、马老师、叶老师，他们真好的老师。
Wow, that is amazing. What is the most challenging part? Is it the reading aspect of Mandarin or the reciting it?
All of it's pretty hard, actually, but definitely the hardest part is the dialect, picking up on the sounds, using the first, fourth, second, third, and a neutral tone, and be able to understand that and hear that, because a lot of Chinese people speak really fast. So if you're able to pick that up, especially in movies, you're considered pretty good.
I know you mentioned that you want to work internationally with your business degree. Would you ever consider living in China? If so, what are some big things about the culture that you enjoy and like?
I definitely would consider moving to China. Economically there, they make a lot of money, and I think it'd be a good fit for me translating in the business world. And culturally speaking, they have a lot of festivities, the Moon Lantern Festival, the Dragon Festival, the New Year celebration that they have. All of it looks very exciting, and I do want to experience that someday.
Moving on to the football side, describe your playing style on the field.
Hard-headed and aggressive. I want the guy across from me to know that I'm going to be able to dominate him the whole game and set the tone from the beginning, from aggressive blocks, getting off the ball hard, shock release, anything that lets him know that it's going to be a long day for him.
You take a lot of pride in being a good blocker. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
It's something that I've had to do since high school, something that was instilled also here at Notre Dame, is that if you want to get touches on the field, that you need to block and you have to block. And if you're going to block, if you could put the guy on his back, I mean, you get extra points for that too. So I take a lot of pride in being able to get a lot of the good blocks downfield, because that's what opens up the run game and getting our running backs into the end zone.
Why do you rally?
I got to be there for the guy next to me. I got to let him know that he can count on me to make the play and be where I need to be and block when I need to block, catch the ball when I need to catch the ball. That's why I rally, so for the guy next to me.
Javon, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. Coach, taking an entire football team, including support staff, on the road is a monumental undertaking, even in normal times. These are not normal times. This week you go on the road for the first time this season with the additional task of putting into place all the new precautions you have to take in the area of coronavirus prevention. How much more complicated does that make going on the road this year?
Well, aside from, testing 4 times during the week, so you have all of your testing, then moving the team requires an incredible support staff that has to advance the team hotel, making sure that the hotel is set up. We're not going to be eating at the hotel. We're going to be eating at the stadium. So having people at the hotel and the stadium means that we're bringing personnel to take care of both sites. So it's an incredible logistics organization that we have, a great support staff that is putting that together for us. So a lot of work behind the scenes in moving a football team across the country to play a game. And the unsung heroes during this COVID time to see that these games actually get played.
So before we get to the challenge Pitt poses for your team, for your players, what is the biggest challenge for them to successfully handle their first road trip of the year?
Well, I just think that more than anything else, understanding that, they're going to go into areas that they don't know the people that they're around and continue to wear face coverings, social distancing, don't take anything for granted, washing their hands, all the things that we've kind of talked about. They just have to redouble those and be certain that they're doing the right things. We're going to be on airplanes. It's hard to, have great distance in an airplane. So just making sure that they're doing the little things the right way.
Pitt is 3-3 this season. They've already put up some great numbers, both throwing the ball, where they're 4th in the conference in passing yards. Total defense, they rank 7th in the country. But I think maybe the best matchup is your running attack against the Pitt rushing defense. They're actually number 1 in the country in rushing defense.
Yeah, number 1 in rushing defense against the number 2 rushing offense in the ACC. So it should be a great challenge. I know our guys are looking forward to it. I'm sure they are as well. And we're going to have to be able to throw the football as well. I mean, this isn't a game where it's just about running the football. So, we have to grow up as well in terms of an offense where we have to have some balance in it. And we're going to have to do that this weekend.
I know your guys are going to be fired up to play because they've been fired up every game this year. So when you send them out onto the field, what do you think your final message is going to be?
Well, I think it's one thing that has been consistent with this group is that they understand that the attention to detail that they have to have has been one where it's allowed them to win a lot of games. They've won 10 consecutive games. They've won, I think 35 out of the last 40 games. They know that attention to detail is going to be needed against the Pitt team that is hungry for a victory.
Brian, thank you and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Jack.
That will do it for this week's edition of the Brian Kelly Show. Coach and I, of course, will return next week at this time to update you on all things Irish football. Until then, for Coach Kelly, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, go Irish.